Next topic is concurrency check, and it's called the conditional put. As I said before, this is something like optimistic locking in the backend. So concurrency issue. So if multiple clients are trying to modify the same resource concurrently, then we have a race condition. So they could override each other, and certainly that's not what we want. So conditional put is to address that problem. So it's going to actually use the condition, a similar scheme of conditional get, and this is how it works. So when updating with put, client will set if match request header to e tag that was returned previously. So e tag was returned in the first time it actually communicated with the server on that particular resource. The server then checked the e tag value in the request header. So if it matches the recomputed e tag value for that resource, then it means no one has changed it. So update will proceed without a problem. Now, if they do not match, then somebody has changed it. So in this case, precondition failure 412 should be returned. So the client, when it received the 412 error condition, then client might want to actually reread the data, then change the data, then perform another update operation. So this is pretty much how optimistic locking works on the server, and how a client, when it receives some kind of an indication that somebody changed it, basically the client has to read the data and make a change on the top of it, and then resend it. So pretty similar scheme. Okay, so that's exercise 3. So again, here we are going to run the client and server application. So let's actually run the server application, conditional etag server, conditional put etag server. So let's run, and okay, so while it's running, let's take a look at what goes on here. So we're going to actually start the server, then we are going to run the client application. Client application, the first time it reads the resource, e tag will be returned. So it's going to be 1595 blah 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 for this interaction. And then client will update the customer data, and then will perform the update with if match with this value. Okay, because no one is changing on the back end in our sample application, it will return 204, meaning nothing has been changed, or no content basically. Now what we are going to do is we are going to actually update the customer, but we are going to actually send some bogus number instead of the previously returned the etag value. We are going to send some kind of incorrect value. Then it's supposed to return 400, but I couldn't actually get it to work, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to actually show you what goes on. And so let's run. Okay, so client is run, then let's actually run the client code. So we are going to run etag client, conditional put etag client. So it will the first time it reads the customer, this is the etag value that is returned. Customer will change it, then etag will be sent back. The customer will update the customer, and this is the new etag value that was sent. And the last one is actually the client will actually send incorrect the value set with the if match request, just for the sake of this testing. Incorrect etag value, and then the server returns 400, which is the some kind of client error. And if you take a look at the server side console, we have a put called and precondition is met, and then put called and nothing after that. So let me actually show you what goes on here. So I'm going to just use the server side code documentation here. So this is the update customer, and this is put operation. Okay, so what it does is basically it will again recompute the hash. That hash is going to be represented by this entity tag. Okay, and then it will actually again call evaluate preconditions with that recomputed tag, and internally it will compare the hash value of recomputed the recomputed hash value with the one that comes from the client. Okay, that is actually coming in if match request header. And if in this case, if preconditions not met, in other words, if match value and the recommended recomputed tag fails to match, then it should actually return with, in this case, 4112. Okay, and if preconditions met, meaning nobody updated it, and basically the customer will be updated with the one that is coming from the client, then we are going to send back no content. This is actually 204, the response code. Okay, and then it's actually sending the newly created hash value. So that's what's happening. And the client code is that basically it does initial get, so it does have entity tag value. Then it's gonna do conditional push, so it's going to set the if match with etag value that was received from the initial interaction, and then this is the newly updated customer object, right? So basically we just set the city to different values, so we are updating it, and then we send the request, and then we get the tag value and display it. So in this case, because nobody has changed it, it should actually proceed and it should return 204, right? Now the third case, we are just sending some kind of bogus value, XYZ. This is not the one that we have received here, right? In that case, the server is supposed to send back 412, but it doesn't send 412. Instead, it sends 400, and I could not figure out why that is the case. Okay, so let's actually so that's what we have seen, right? Okay, so if you take a look at the server side code here, so this is the code. So the what happens is that if client send incorrect hash value in if match, so by the way, we are actually getting put is called so what happens is if the client sends incorrect value, this one inside this code is actually throwing an exception. It's sending 400. Okay, and this code never get actually set. So I was actually thinking, maybe if it is not setting 412, I was actually, I was gonna actually set it myself. For example, builder dot and status and with, let's say 412, something like this. Okay, and but the thing is that this code will actually cause an exception internally, so this code never gets executed. So that's something I am not able to actually understand it. So what happens is that if it received the incorrect hash value, it should actually return the this response builder object not null, and also the status is supposed to be set to 412 as well. But that's not what's happening. It seems like almost like a bug in the JAX-RS. Okay. Anyway, so that's what's happening. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let you play around with this one for maybe 6 minutes, and then we're gonna move on to security, because I need about at least 40 minutes for security. Okay.